guys, I'm Laura Vitale, and on this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I want to share with you my updated flourless chocolate cake. It should really be called like a fudgy chocolate tart because it is very fudgy. It is not soft and spongy like a regular cake because there's no gluten, there's no flour in it whatsoever, but it is pure decadence. So I want to share with you because I've posted pictures on Instagram. I've had a lot of you ask for the recipe, so we might as well. It's so easy, you're going to love it. All you need are eggs, sugar, salt, a little instant espresso powder, lots of bittersweet chocolate, some butter, and some vanilla. That's all you need. I will say, try using bars of bittersweet chocolate rather than chips. I find that it works a lot better. You have much more just rich, smooth chocolate flavor rather than using chips. But if you got bittersweet chips, then just use that. Let's get started. I've got my oven preheated to 325. I have an 8-inch springform pan lined on the outside with some aluminum foil. I'll talk about that in just a minute. I'm going to melt my chocolate and my butter in a small saucepan, but if this freaks you out because you're afraid you may scorch the chocolate, then do this in a double boiler. I have a pretty good idea on how my burners work and things like that, so I know that I will not be burning my chocolate, but I am going to babysit this on really low heat and just keep everything moving until you have a really nice smooth mixture. Do not crank the heat up just because you're in a hurry, because if you're in a hurry you shouldn't be baking, you know what I'm saying? Because this takes some patience. It's looking good. It's not quite there yet, but this is the part where you add your espresso, which I forgot to show you, that you just need a tiny bit of warm water, like a tablespoon. And you're going to add this tablespoon of espresso water. Make sure it's instant espresso. And you don't taste the coffee at all. But what it does is it makes the chocolate so chocolatey and so intense and fantastic that you just would not believe. So don't skip it if you can help it. This is almost done in terms of all of the melting. You can see I've got just a few more bits left. When it's done, I'm just going to set it to the side to cool a little bit. That looks great. I'm just going to set that aside for it to cool slightly. It's really not that hot because this was cooking over very low heat. Like I can touch the sides of the pot. So I'm not worried about it scorching my eggs when I use it when I add it to the eggs anyway. So to the eggs, sugar, salt. I'm going to add my vanilla now. I'm going to do this with a handheld whisk here, and I am going to just mix everything together for a couple of minutes. I really want the egg mixture to be really pale and thick and just glorious. So I'm going to do that, and then we unite everything, and then I'll talk you through the rest. That is what you are looking for. It's really lovely in color, and it's just like thickened up. It's fantastic. Now we're going to add the slightly cooled, it's cooled a lot, chocolate mixture. Get it off the wooden spoon. This just lovely and smooth operator. I don't know the rest of the words. Get that all in there. Don't leave anything behind. Thank you very much. Get that in there. And I'm just going to mix this until it's all incorporated. That looks perfect. Okay, let's talk about my pan. 8-inch springform pan. I have outlined the outside with a couple layers of aluminum foil, and I lined the bottom with some parchment paper and sprayed it well with some nonstick spray. And I have this in a bigger roasting pan because I'm going to bake this in a water bath. So, ow! Pour this in. Beautiful. Oh, that's going to be so good. That is going to be so good. Fantastic. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour enough hot water. I just used hot water from the tap to come halfway up the sides of the pan. I am then going to put the whole thing in the oven very carefully and let it bake for 40 minutes. After 40 minutes, I'm going to take it out of the water bath and remove the foil, and then I'm going to let it cool completely. Now, once it cools completely, it's got to go into the fridge overnight, but I'll talk you through that later on, because when that happens, we're gonna make a raspberry sauce to serve with because it's so rich and chocolatey and delicious that you need a little something sharp and zingy to go on top of this so that it breaks it up a little bit. And the balance between the two is phenomenal. So I'm gonna go do that and I'll show you later what it looks like. All right, my chocolate cake was in the oven for about 40 minutes. I took it out of the water bath. I got rid of the foil. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosely cover this. What I do is I put a plate right on top and I'm going to pop it in the fridge for a minimum of 6 hours or up to overnight. You want this to be really set and really dense and delicious. So I'm going to do that. And then when we serve it, we're going to make our raspberry sauce to go with it right before we serve it, I should say. And it's going to be magnificent. My tart, cake, whatever you want to call it, was in the fridge overnight. It's really important that you let it come to room temperature for about an hour before you serve it, which now is the perfect time because I'm going to make my raspberry sauce. I'm going to pop it in the fridge until it's cooled and then I'll serve everything. To make the raspberry sauce, it's so simple and easy, but it is for me, it's a must for this. You just need fresh raspberries, a couple of cups that you're going to just add to a food processor, a mini chopper, or a blender, whatever you got. You just kind of make it fit in there. It's fine. You need some sugar. You can use as much sugar as you want. I'm only using a couple tablespoons today because these are really quite sweet. And you need the juice of half a lemon because this is really juicy. You need about a tablespoon or so of lemon. And then I'm just going to pop the lid on and I'm going to puree this until smooth. And that, come on, is step numero uno. Beautiful. Now you add this to a saucepan. You probably could just serve it just like this. But I'm going to simmer it. I'm going to bring it to a boil. In the meantime, I'm going to make a cornstarch slurry. You just need water and you need cornstarch. You're going to mix it together. And once your raspberry puree comes to a boil, you're going to go ahead and pour this into it and let it cook for a couple of minutes. And I'll show you what it looks like once it's thickened and it'll be beautiful. And I just can't wait to eat because I've been waiting for this overnight, which says a lot about me because I'm very impatient when it comes to food. That is gorgeous. It came to a boil. I added the cornstarch slurry and now I'm going to go ahead and strain it. The reason why I do the cornstarch slurry is because once cooled, I want it to be a little bit thicker than it would be without it because I want it to kind of cling on to the tart a little bit more. But if that doesn't matter to you and you like it quite runny, then don't do the slurry at all and just strain it. I do like to strain it because the seeds drive me insane, but it really isn't necessary. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just get this out of here, strain this nicely, and then I'm going to pop it into the fridge until cooled, and then that'll be the time. It's the perfect time for the tart to come to room temperature, and then we just serve. I like to do a nice thick dusting of confectioner sugar on the top, and the reason I like to do confectioner sugar and not powdered like cocoa powder is because the cake itself, you can't think of it as cake. Okay, it should have a different name. Because it's not. It's a very dense, very fudgy, brownie-like situation, if you will, okay? It's extremely decadent. You can see by just the way the knife goes in and out. It's extremely decadent, and it does not need anything bitter on top. Like, the cocoa powder would be a little bit bitter. You see how that's really rich? That's what you want, okay? Then you're going to offset that with your thick raspberry sauce. Serve it with some fresh raspberries as well, and you will be in heaven. A perfect treat, Valentine's Day, for you, your husband, your family, everybody together. Dynamite. Wow, it's really good. Delicious. Flourless.com for the written recipe. I hope that you've enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you next time.